Well, guys, it is just about midnight. Welcome back to the Hustlin Horsepower channel. It is Sunday night at midnight. We spent yesterday until about 2 o'clock this morning at Shadyside, hanging out with Brutal Speed and Tuning, and Boost is my friend. And we watched Nigel take his stock block LS Jasper motor all the way to the finals. That's the motor that I cut the domes off in a couple of videos ago. Not the domes off, but took the tops off the pistons to open up the piston to head clearance slash the deck to the piston height clearance. Put them in the hole a little bit. So I took 20 thousandths off of the pistons on that motor, and he put that thing back together and went out and won the King of 28 shootout that Corey Stamper slash Spooled Media put on over at Shadyside. And the car was running pretty good, and they were rolling pretty good. So we got that video out. They'll be coming out Monday morning. We'll post that up. We didn't get it done in time because this morning was pretty busy and I wasn't able to work on the car. So here it is, midnight, actually like 12:30 in the morning, and my goal was by Monday morning have the back half started, or at least a good portion of the back half done. We ain't there yet. So 2 videos ago, maybe 2 or 3 videos ago, you saw me modify these brackets a little bit for the adjustability here. Well, I'm gonna change this up a little bit. I'm gonna go and machine off a 1/2 inch off of this, so that this, well, I guess you could see it. So here, we want about a one third of this. Let me explain this a little bit easier for you guys. So this notch right here is a factory notch with these brackets here. Like I said in the last video, or 2 videos ago, whatever it was, the last build video, I probably would have been better off starting from scratch and just machining these all up just from some plate steel. But I didn't, and coming back to bite me a little bit, so whatever. So luckily we have access to a mill here at Flying Hammer. These guys are treating us pretty well, so I've known these guys for a while. But we're going to take a 1/2 inch off of here. I put these brackets up in here, and I'm changing the way I'm mounting these brackets from on the Homegrown Hustler chassis that's sitting over here slightly, because I think I could take a couple pounds out of it by redoing the attachment points and stuff like that. So I should be able to take probably 5 or 10 pounds out of the car, which isn't a lot, but every little bit helps. So I'm going to machine off a 1/2 inch out of these so I could attach these brackets. Will sleeve over the bars. So this bar right here, as you can see in here, is actually part of my funny car cage bar, but I have it just propped up in here for just for looks. No, just for messing around. So I'm making 2 more bars that go from our number 15 bar down to our number 1 bar, and I'm going to not have a secondary or a third bar across. I'm planning on doing 2 bars. They'll go tie these 2 bars together, and then both my main rails going back to the bed will be mounted off of here. So this tube is going to sleeve in here to the number 1 bar, this fillet here, but as you can see, if you can see in here, this tube here and this here is about a 1/2 inch offset. So we're going to take a 1/2 inch off of these plates here and bring this tube so it matches to this fillet here, so that I could run this tube 90 degrees. It will sit 90 degrees in here from top to bottom, and it will allow this to fish mouth the number 1 bar. Then we'll go through here, and I'm going to tie in bars from this point here back to the lower rail, and this point here to the upper rail, and really triangulate this structure back here for the forces that are going to be behind the chassis, as far as the anti-roll bar, the wing, and stuff like that, just to make sure it's nice and strong back there. The main attachment points to the chassis, you're putting all the power through these brackets right here, so they got to be strong. And long story short, we're going to strengthen them up, and we're going to take some weight out of the car. So I'm going to go put these up in the mill, and we're going to take off a 1/2 inch here, and then I'll make up some new bars to go, or some bars to go from between here and here, fish mount those in there, and we'll get that all tacked up at least tonight before it's time for a little nap. We have some friends that came in from out of town. Our number 1 fan, Lila, is here with her mom and dad, and she's needing a little bit of a pick-me-up. So they came down here, and we're going to hang out for a couple days. We're going to get some work done on the car, hang out. We might spend a 1/2 a day doing something fun because they're on vacation, right? So we're going to do what we can. We have a kid, a young guy coming in tomorrow that is picking up the F-body that the guys at Flying Hammer and myself gave away to start the new generation of racers. So him and his dad are making the trip up from Georgia. They're leaving at 7 o'clock in the morning, so they should be up here, I don't know, sometime in the mid-afternoon tomorrow. So that'll be pretty cool, seeing that he just turned 14 years old. So he's getting to hit that 4th gen Camaro, and they're going to be starting on that project, father-son project. So that's a pretty cool deal. And then what else? I don't know. There's always stuff happening around here at Hustlin Horsepower. So guys, I appreciate it. We're gonna get to some machining here. So guys, it is 3:30 in the morning. There's not a soul in sight. Just a young guy getting on his race car on Sunday night, Monday morning, whatever. 3:30 in the morning, and we're getting ready to, or I'm gonna get ready to call it a quits here. It took me a little while. It took me a couple hours to get those brackets set up, and I wanted to have the back bars done, but it's all basically set up. So I'm gonna flip the camera around, and then I'll explain a couple things. So now that I have my phone charged up a little bit, I should be able to be able to show you the process for doing the other side. Of course, I do recommend having something on more than safety Crocs, because once in a while you'll have a piece, I don't know if you can see it down there, of 1 5/8 tubing, and it'll scorch you. But I'm in my shoes like a lot, and it's nice to have some air circulation around your feet. So I'm gonna go get the other piece over here, and I'm gonna hook you up on the tripod wherever it is, and I'll walk you through the process. So guys, this is not a high dollar micrometer. This is just a knockoff micrometer. Do not go steal your buddy's freaking micrometer. That's a high quality micrometer, and do this. But if you have a cheap micrometer from Harbor Freight or something like that, or a knockoff micrometer that's $10, $15, they work great for scribing lines and measuring things. Most of them go up to about 6 inches, but they're great for marking bend lines or what we're doing here. So I set this up to 500 thousandths, which is a ½ inch, okay? And we're gonna go through here, and I scribed it, okay? Just slide along here, boom, and boom. Slide along. I don't know if you can see it very well. I'm going to zoom back here and see if you can see it. You can see, You can see that scribe line in there. You can kind of see it. It's there. I can see it pretty well. That's a ½ inch scribe line there. You can see it right above my finger there. Right there. You could see it. Boom. I'm going to go on here, unbolt these, and I'm going to cut this side out, and I'm going to cut that side out with the plasma cutter. And then, after I cut them with the plasma cutter, take off about 3/8 of that inch. We're going to probably leave about 120 thou. And then I'm going to chip off the slag of the plasma. And then we're going to put it on the grinder, clean up the edges either with my angle grinder or the belt sander. Take off the edges. And then we're going to put it in the mill and machine up that last 50 thou to 100 thousandths. Just make sure we have a nice straight true edge that's going to butt up against our vertical bars, be going between our number 1 and number 15 bar. And that's going to tighten that sucker up so that this sits here like that, but our vertical bar is perfect. Now, it's not always going to be 500,000, like guys, this is all something that you got to figure out. Like I said, I put this up in there. If you're doing this, watch the whole video. I put this up in there, and with this on the spine, with the distance between the bars, that sucker was sitting in there about a ½ inch gap, 500 thousandths. So that's why we're taking this edge off, so that this pipe will sit in there nice and flush, and I can weld along the spine of it. So time to get after it. As you see, I did put a bolt back in there so it clamps in the vise, so I have a little bit of airspace between where I'm going to be cutting here. I'm using my welding helmet that I do not recommend, but this one does have a grind function on it, and I don't like using this helmet for MIG welding or cutting and stuff like that, because I want to keep my lenses nice and clean. But it looks like other people have used my helmet, which it is what it is, and it screwed it up a little bit, so we're just going to use it. So you see I hit these with a flap wheel here and got rid of any burrs or anything like that that might be sitting there. The reason for that is when I make these together and bolt them together and go to machine them, I need these to lay nice and perfectly flat. So A, it doesn't chatter in the mill, and B, that this one is identical to this one, and these two are identical to the other two. So I'm gonna go over here and I'll bolt these together, then we'll throw them in the mill and machine them up. After indexing the plates in the mill, I was able to take off a couple skim cuts here, true it all up before taking a couple more passes, taking off a little bit more material. It's all a process, but you gotta make sure it is 100% right so that your pickup points are exactly the same and true between the driver's side and the passenger side. Any deviation here is really gonna screw you up in the long term. So guys, here's a little 2 a.m. update. I went through and I plasma cut just about a ½ inch off of this. I scribed it with a ½ inch line, ½ inch off of here, and then I went through and plasma cut it probably about, I don't know, I left about 100 thou on there. Then I put it in the mill and machined it down. So to get in a little more detail here, this is the reason why I did it. I'll have a weld, either a solid weld or a stitch weld, to weld this all the way down the spine here. That's going to attach the number 1 bar to the number 15 bar. As you can see, this now fits here perfectly. There was a ½ inch gap here. That's how I figured out how much I had to machine off of this face here. This main hoop is 90 degrees is how I set it up. So 90 degrees, was able to go through and take off an even ½ inch. I didn't have to do any taper or anything like that. We still left the mounts here in case we get rich one day. We can get some Pro Jacks for the Pro Jack mounts. This is a jacking system here. I'll probably end up building some Bro Jacks, just build them myself or something like that at some point. But for right now, we still have these mounts here so the jack can tie into here. I also built a setup that I still have. I might have to modify it a little bit because this is our pickup point for the ladder bar setup. I built it on this 4-link setup so that it is adjustable. This is extreme. This is probably never going to be up this high, but it does allow me to go up a little bit higher than the factory point, since this number 1 bar is sitting a couple inches lower than what it did in the homegrown Hustler, the way I did this chassis versus the other chassis. Yeah, so there's that. As you can see, it is just mocked up in here, but it is pretty damn close. So this is probably sitting at like 85 degrees right now, and that's why there's that little bit of a gap there. This is just for mock-up. So everything worked out right, and I'm gonna go machine up the other side. Now that I have my phone charged up to about 35%, I should be able to film the other thing for you.